Welcome to our last show on on Jim, Harry, and Gervin's book club, which is called Chapter 7 on Finishing Dear Liza. First, of course, I want to say thank you to my co-host, Jim. I mentioned to him before we came on how easy it has been for us to share this series. And then we copy, edit, and post it up into YouTube channel so it's available for people. I'm going to start with a little bit different part of it, where I'm going to play the Zahara 3 introduction, which is artificial intelligence creating this audio, and I'm hoping it will all work out. And the reason I'm doing this is it brings the Zahara series, book 1, book 2, and book 3 into a picture for you to see. And it's important to understand that without Zahara 1, there would be no Zahara 2. And without Zahara 2, there would be no Zahara 3. And I'm very proud of all three of them. But the last book is not a book for people to use to teach. It's to enrich the individual advanced student's mind and soul. It bringing the two worlds into one. My favorite topic. Okay.
Zahara and a Tale of Two Worlds by Harry Durbitsky. Zahara's journey via 3 books. Zahara's literary journey began at 15 years old through heartfelt talks with her wise and traditional African grandmother, Bibi Makena, and teachings from the books and talks of Sydney Banks. Together, Bibi and Zahara, fictional characters, explored the difference between God's love and the love of a boyfriend. The first book, Zahara Asks, What is Love?, captures these meaningful conversations, diving deep into the nature of love and happiness. This book is free in digital or audio format at www.actraining.biz. The second book, Zahara Teaches What is Love, is aimed at younger readers, though the last 2 chapters, which explored Dear Liza by Sydney Banks, have something for readers of all ages. In this story, Zahara is now 22 and is a teacher at a refugee camp school. This book is free in digital or audio format at www.actraining.biz. By the time we get to this third book, Zahara and the Tale of Two Worlds, Zahara is 30 years old and has become a 3 principles teacher, traveling across many countries in Africa. This book is for those ready to dive deeper into the connection between God and the human being. This book also demonstrates how all religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, and African spirituality point to a single divine source, and how the 3 principles of mind, thought, and consciousness resonate and elevate with each of them. This book also quietly honors the remarkable work of the 3P in Africa team. 3pinafrica.mekajabi.com/3pinafrica start page. In the writer's view, the transformation of so many lives across Africa is a true testament to the healing power of the 3 principles, uncovered by the writer's own enlightened teacher, Sydney Banks. Asante Sana and Mungu Bariki, thank you very much, and God bless in Swahili. Harry Durbitsky. When human beings walk into the quiet, spiritual life takes off. Section 1. Introduction to the Two Worlds.
Okay. How did you like that, Jim?
Oh, I thought it was great, Harry. Really
Pretty
nice.
amazing.
Very well presented. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Done. Mark, Jim did an audio book for Audible. I don't know how many hours, let's say 150 hours. My whole book was created by AI through Amazon in half an hour.
Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah.
And I had a choice of 45 voices, and I chose this one, type of thing. But it took truly amazing. And all it does is took my ebook and translated it, and I could start it where I wanted. So I wanted to show that for two reasons, because I wanted to bring the series in completion and also to show you the power of AI and how much it enhances our ability if used properly, type of thing. And my third book, which Mark is reading right now, AI did all the editing for it. So it really made a big difference and created pictures, lots of pictures for me in the book. Now we're going to the chapter 7 or part 7 of Zahara finishes Dear Liza. I'm going to ask Jim to sort of get the ball rolling in that direction.
Thanks, Harry. The sooner we get into the listening, the better, since it is imminent. But a couple of points that strike me in the last chapter. The letters from Liza's mother are I believe are featured. A couple of those letters. I can't tell you the pure truth that's in them, but all of these letters are full of truth, and so we can focus on them when we're listening and understand that. There's a miracle in the story, and it has certain, it draws in certain memories of my own from my own childhood, and really it's only a story that was told to me by my parents about my older sister Iris, who, as a very young child, contracted a rheumatic fever, a rheumatic heart. She had a very, you might say, a lot of illness in her childhood. She only attended two grades of school. She spent most of it.
We've lost
She
your sound, Jim. Okay.
Sounds not good.
Just for a second, it buzzed off.
At any rate, my sister Iris.
Oh, also, Jim, could you not rock back and forth? I know it's comfortable, but it's disrupting
All right.
in terms. Okay, yeah.
Let's steady it out here. So Iris is about maybe 14 years older than I am. I was, and her story, this invalid child. And when she was about 8 years old, at this time, doctors came out to give you house visits, and the doctor was in our home. And the story he had, the prediction that he had, the advice that he had from my two parents was that my sister Iris was not going to live the night, that she wouldn't survive the night, be prepared. Things are coming to a close. And of course, that did not occur. Iris recovered from her rheumatic heart condition, although I believe there's always been effects of it during the rest of her life. But she got herself out of bed when she was about 16. She went down to Eaton's in Canada, a department store in Edmonton, and got herself a job. And she worked for the next 3 years, being an excellent employee, efficient, all the rest, and then became married and had two beautiful children and a wonderful life, wonderful husband, and all the rest of that. But the similarity between the story of dear Liza and my sister Iris, quite astounding, actually. So I can relate totally to the feelings that were created as the book plays itself out with Liza battling her own illness. So that's basically there's one other something beyond the personal, and that is the idea of healing. And you've dealt with it a few times, Harry, in your writings. But how does this healing work? How does all healing work? How does it happen? Is a doctor a healer? Or does a doctor just encourage healing? I think it's the second. Healing comes from God. It's almost like it's preordained in some ways. Um, what a doctor does, or a healer, other types of healer do, is they seem to enhance the ability of God's work to occur. You know, the medicines, the different things. It's the love. It's the love, and it's the same love that the Africans are experiencing when they wake up from the trauma and horror that they've been existing in, and start freeing that healing process so that it takes us back to that normal mental health that is our natural state. And that, you know, to me, that is the essence, that is the highest truth that I can get out of that book, is this understanding of the formless and the form. And the healing comes, everything comes from the formless. But when we can, not knowing how we do it even, but we just let it go to the feelings, we let it go to that natural stuff that all of us have within us that is universal. And when we get ourselves out of the way and we accept it, then the healing is free to do its work.
Great, Jim. Thank you. Now we have three teachers of the Zahara series from Success Roots, and Gervin also is teaching in a community center. And Gervin, can you say a few words about either the chapter or the privilege of teaching truth to the kids?
So I'd like to share just a bit about the experience that I've gotten from sharing with the youth in the community about the Zahara series. Actually, first of all, I'd like to talk about at the personal level how the stories have really reshaped my thinking, how I used to see life before and how I now see life. Actually, when I came here to Uganda some 12 years ago, I was just a young boy. And once we came here to the refugee settlement, I kind of felt like my life was over, because the way that the place looked like, the ways of living made me feel like I can never do something or accomplish something again in my life because of the place where I'm living and the kind of life that I'm living. But the more I grew and came to have this opportunity to learn about the three principles with these stories of Zahara, I came to understand that no matter what I am going through or what kind of life I'm living, I still can accomplish something if and only my thoughts are positive. I used to have negative thoughts, just like most of people have here at the refugee settlement. Most of people say there is nothing that we can do here in the camp because we are refugees. There are no jobs. There is nothing that we can accomplish. So you find all these people sharing the same negative thoughts, and you find these thoughts kind of affect a bigger community. So by understanding that my thoughts play an important role on how I live my life and which impacts will my negative thoughts have on me, I understood that I have to make sure that I have positive thoughts. And how do I get these positive thoughts? It's to let my negative thoughts drift away and understand that we don't always have control over everything in life. There are those things that happen in life that we don't have control over. So they are natural things that happen, and we have to see them the way that they come and accept the reality of life, which many people up to now don't really want to accept or to understand. People always have these their own thoughts that they put in their minds, thinking like, I need to have this in order for me to be happy. I need to be like this in order for me to be like this, forgetting that there are times in life whereby things happen and that we can't control them. So we have to accept them the way they come, and just to know to be happy through every situation. So when I understood that, I felt like it was really amazing to share this knowledge to the broader community, so that the other people in the community can also benefit from the same teachings that I've received, so that the community can also try to see how it can change and to have positivity. So with the experience I've gotten from sharing these teachings with the students that we have, with the youth here at the community center, is that most of times even they used to ask, how can we be happy when we are living in such conditions? How can I be happy when I don't have school fees? Most of us, you find, we are just like this. Our parents are thinking too much about our well-being. So you find our parents take alcohol. So it also affects the whole family. So they asked, how can we make sure that we don't continue in this way? So as we kept studying the Zahara stories, they came to understand that their own thoughts can create their feelings, which they really appreciated, because they never knew that with their thoughts, they can have different feelings. They never understood that feelings that they have come from their thoughts. They thought that happiness comes from having money, having a lot of clothes to wear. So that's how they used it to see life. And that is what made them feel like they can never be happy. They are always sad. But after studying these stories, the three principles, they came to understand that we were wrong. We can be happy even if we don't have much money. We can be happy even if we don't have this and this. So we only have to change our thoughts from negative to positive ones, and then we can be happy. So that has really brought a bigger impact, as I can say for now, because actually for now we're having like almost 120 youths who are going through these teachings, and they have understood that every time a sad thought comes into my mind, I have to make sure that I replace it with a positive thought, and that will make me to be happy. That will make me to have a good day and not to be sad. So they have said they're going to take these teachings back home to start sharing slowly with their parents, with their relatives. The more that they are learning from here, they also go and share with their families, because they believe that this is a game changer. It's something that really needs to be spread to so many people, so that all other people can really understand and benefit from this. Actually, some are students in primary schools, but they said they are also going to start sharing the same teachings in their schools. They start sharing with their friends in their own schools, so that their friends can also benefit from these teachings. So I'd like to say thank you so much, because we see that really things are going well, because here in Naki Valley, it is at Success Roots Nursery and Primary School where these teachings are being taught. but in other schools they don't have. So you find we are having here in the community center a lot of youth from different places and the schools. So they were like, oh my God, so they teach these things even at school. But for us, we have never learned about these things. So it's like, yeah, it can be possible. So they said, yeah, we are also going to start teaching our own friends at school, and also to share with all others so that they can also benefit, because for them, they are not able to come here. So that is really amazing. We see that we are so thankful because the youth have really accepted the teachings. They are receiving them with too much positivity. And we are so glad because we see that the teachings are really changing lives. They are transforming lives positively, and which is all about the three principles. Once we see lives being transformed positively, it makes me happy and it gives me the courage to keep sharing again more and more and more with these youth, because every time they come with some story, they share how they feel after studying a certain chapter. I feel like, oh my God, we are really making an impact. Let us continue. So it keeps motivating us to continue. Even the youth, the more they learn new chapters, the more they feel really engaged to keep coming here every Saturday to learn, which is something good, which I really appreciate. And recently, last time, they were like, we can even start like writing, taking notes instead of just reading books. We want now to start taking notes. We get books and pens. We write, we go, we revise, we teach. Also, we want to be like you so that we can also understand very well these things and share with others the way you are sharing with us. I really felt so happy and really inspired, and I really appreciate the whole team of 3P in Africa for the support, for the encouragement. It's really great, and it is really helping us to keep going forward. And we believe that as long as we are still alive, we will never stop. We will never cease to keep teaching the community about the three principles, because it is really impressive and lives are really changing positively. So thank you so much.
Durban, that was magnificent. Beautiful sharing, just beautiful, everything. We listened to what's happening in a refugee camp, and it's miracle after miracle after miracle. Well done. Well done in your work, well done in your sharing, and well done in the sharing here today about what's going on. It's just beautiful. It's a story for the world. The world needs to hear your story. It needs to hear all of our African stories, because the world is suffering from that same delusion that happiness is from the outside, not the inside, and they're all after the money or the goods or the material things or that wonderful girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, giving their happiness, the power of their happiness away, and not understanding that they're doing it. And you guys are waking up over there, and you're demonstrating for the whole world.
Okay. And also we have two other teachers. We'll get you to talk as well. And I'm just going to add one final thing with what Gervin is doing is in his community class, we have also a lot, he is also my guide inside instructor, which complements what we are working. And he has now started to use that material as well. So we have the 3 Zahara books, and we have my guide inside as complementary to that. And we're very proud. And Krista is also, and Jane are very, very pleased, Shervin, with what you are sharing there. I just want to add that as a compliment to the expansion of what we're teaching.
Part 7, finishing Dear Liza. One of the students put up their hand and asked Miss Zahara to finish the Dear Liza story as he was wondering how it ends. Zahara continued. When we last heard the story, the Major learned to trust Liza. When he visited her in her very poor home, in which Jenny, aged 5 years old, also lived, and where Liza took care of her, he experienced a powerful love open up in his heart. After returning home to his castle, he shared the love of Liza with everyone at the castle. The cook, whose name was Cookie, was deeply touched by how the two children were living alone and how loving and caring Liza was. Cookie asked her daughter and husband of the daughter, the Millers, and they said they would like to take the two children to live at their home, as they could not have children. Each child would have a lovely bedroom. When they visited the home to see if they would want to live there, Jenny even had a teddy bear sitting on her new bed, which brought giddy sounds of delight from her excited voice. It was a dream come true for both Liza and Jenny. Later, when the Major and his wife read letters from Liza's mom to Liza, one of the letters said, "Sweet dreams, my child, and always remember it is never too late to dream. And if your heart and thoughts are pure, your dreams can come true." In another letter, the mom wrote, "Dear Liza, my dear child, one of the most beautiful things I can bestow upon you is the knowledge that love is the mystical key that opens the doors to the beauty and happiness you seek. Love, my dear Liza, is a feeling that comes in many disguises. It may be caring for someone in need, loving your husband, loving your children, caring for and helping your neighbors and friends, or it may be bringing a little joy to others who are less fortunate. There is no end to the different ways to use this beautiful gift called love. Love, Mum." The class loved this happy ending, but unfortunately, just as Liza and Jenny were to move into their new home, Liza's cough became very bad. When the Major took her to their new home with the loving Millers, the doctor came and he said, "I'm afraid it won't be too long now. She's such a frail little thing, and I don't see how her body can take much more. I'm sorry, but I've done everything I can, and there isn't much more we can do for her except pray." Everyone in the class became very sad. This was terrible news and totally unexpected. Jenny was also sad, as Liza was the most important and loving person in her life. Sobbing uncontrollably, Jenny said, "I don't want you to leave. Can't we just go back to our own place? Everything would be all right, like before." "No, Jenny, you must stay here with your new mom and dad. And do you know, I heard your new mom say she was going to get a puppy for Christmas. Isn't that wonderful, Jenny? Imagine, you will have your very own puppy to play with." With tears streaming down her cheeks, Jenny sobbed, "I don't want a puppy. I want to stay with you, Liza." "But Liza, you promised me you would never leave me. And if I stay here, you must stay with me. You told me that your mom always said, if your heart was pure, you could wish for anything and it would come true. And my wish is we can stay together forever." After Jenny was put to bed, the Millers and Cookie held hands for a few moments of silent prayer. Mrs. Miller's soft sobbing was all that broke the quiet. Then, with a quavering voice, Cookie began, "Please, Lord, as you are already aware, I don't ask you for very much, but this time I would be ever so grateful if you could spare this little child, Liza, who has brought so much love into the lives of so many people. With your help, she's been guided into our lives and has a whole new life ahead of her. If you would grant me this one prayer, I would never ask you for anything again. No, both mother and daughter wept uncontrollably until they gradually calmed, and again the house was quiet. Very shortly after the prayer, like a miracle, Liza arose from her bed. She was faint, but clear-minded as she asked for a cup of tea. By the miracle of love and prayer, she had recovered, even though the doctor said she would not. Everyone was elated, and when Cookie returned to the castle, she celebrated the good news with all the staff, and of course the major and his wife Laura, who exclaimed, "I know it is a few days early, but you have just given me the best Christmas gift I've ever had." All the children in the class were thrilled with the happy ending. One of the students asked, "Miss Zahara, what is prayer, and does it work?" Zahara answered that she could only tell the young student the way she understands prayer and its relationship to God. No one can know everything about God. In her mind, God is the energy of everything, whether in form or formless. There are many names for God, such as Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, Jesus, Mind, Great Spirit, and many more. However, there is only one God. In Zahara's mind, she stated, all healing originates and comes from God, she explained to the class. When you feel the Spirit in your heart, prayers come true. When you are simply asking for some desire or personal need, generally they do not come true. For example, when Cookie and the Millers prayed for Liza's recovery, they were asking God with all their hearts. They were really wanting her to heal. And they also knew that only God could heal Liza since the doctor could not. Their prayers were answered. One student asked, "Do prayers always come true when we pray to Jesus or God?" Zahara pondered for a moment. Prayers are a quiet mind that does not interfere with the loving energy of spirit. Fool's Crow, a Native American Indian shaman, said healing and prayers are like hollow bones. When we are like hollow bones in our minds, we are one with God. Zahara said, "I promise you that when you are one with God and your personal mind is not interfering with the prayer, your prayers will be answered." This silence and positive feeling creates the miracle and vision that we are all looking for. When the miracle appears, we gain faith in God's way. Always remember, as both Grandma Bibi and Sydney Banks stated, love is always the answer. And Zahara smiled at the class and said, "It is also my way, and I hope that it will be yours." After telling this part of the story to the young students, Zahara asked the following questions and had a wonderful discussion with the happy students. Question 1. Did you like the way the story ended? Question 2. What do you feel the main message of Dear Liza is about?
Deeply affected me as I reread the book. What the book expresses is deeper than what Zahara says, and yet it is the same, because love can be expressed in so many ways. But I highly recommend that you read Dear Liza to really feel the depth of what Sid is pointing towards, the feelings and the tears that come to your eyes when Zahara gets sick and almost dies. In a way, she experienced a near-death experience of going back into the oneness of God and then coming back with a clearer vision of how to help people. But to me, the most remarkable part of the story of the Zahara series is that Zahara, with nothing, poverty, everything against her, had the power of the spirit inside of her, the power of love, and how it affected the Major and Laura and Cookie and the whole staff. We forget that the love is the healing balm that everybody is looking for. And each person, not consciously by doing anything, just being affected by Liza's pure spirit, transformed, their lives transformed. Nothing outside changed for them because they had everything perfect, but inside they awoke. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful story of a message for mankind. It's time to share more love, less fear. Time to forget that the outside world is the only force in the world. The world has lost itself. It's heading down, or maybe it's reached rock bottom. But love in 3P in Africa has brought a rejuvenation. A rejuvenation. I want the readers, the listeners to understand this. Rejuvenation to Harry, to Jim, to Mark, to Jervin, to Emmanuel, to Patty. We've all been blessed by the power of love. And for that, now I'll just open the floor to anyone who wants to share anything. And Emmanuel and Patty, we would love to hear from you as well, as you have also been teaching that. And I will also add that next Tuesday, Success Roots is having a parents-kids meeting where the kids are going to be expressing what they have enjoyed about Zahara series and so on. So that is kind of a neat compliment for sure. So,
Harry, I've got a question. Could you talk a little bit more about the hollow bones? Because I'm at a bit of a loss as to how that works.
yeah, Sydney Banks loved this metaphor, by the way, just to preempt it. But in our understanding of healing, Fool's Crow was a student of an enlightened native Indian sage, Black Elk. And he was a great healer, physical and spiritual healer to people. And the image is that the power of God or truth comes through you. And when the more hollow it is here, in other words, the quiet mind in purity, in totality, that is the level of healing that the person experiences. So the healer is actually his job. He has a gift and he has the understanding that the more hollow the connection is, the more in the now is the power of healing. And it flows through. And because he has the gift, he understands how he understands the same thing we understand about 3P in Africa. We're doing our best, but the God is doing the healing, or the Spirit, the Great Spirit is doing the healing. And when with that understanding, he performed thousands of miracles of healing. And that was the way that was his metaphor, his understanding of what was happening. It is interesting when we step into the now, Jim, we lose track of our subjective or personal thinking, and we're just all what I call the us mind. We're all just one. That's where the healing is. Every time Jervin, Emmanuel, Patty teach, and the class goes into that space, what you call that positive feeling, it's because they are not interfering with the flow. And it is what I have noticed with 3P in Africa, because I have asked myself the question, why has it been so successful? And it is unbelievably successful. And my answer is because we're not interfering with our personal opinions and ideas and negative thoughts. We're just allowing it to flow freely. And spirit moves surprisingly quick when it is not interfered with. So in a way, it's like saying an unpolluted mind, personal mind, and God's mind are one mind, which of course comes from what Sid is talking about, one mind. And when they're both used in the same way, there is healing automatically. Love is felt. And I have seen, to be honest, the Native American Indian ceremonies and have been part of that and even performed some of that. And I can tell you, it's very powerful, very beautiful to see people heal. And that's all I care about. I don't care if it's this way or that way, but if the healing is the result, check mark. And that's my philosophy of life, type of thing. But it is a beautiful metaphor. Do you agree, Jim?
Yeah, I get it, Harry, now that you've been talking about it. What flashes through me, and I don't know anything about this either, but is the word chi.
Yeah, just another way of expressing
Chi.
hollow bones.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. I love it.
Yeah. And it also sort of shows our role with God. We are playing, but we can interfere. And so by not interfering, we play on a spiritual, psychological, physical harmony level.
Mhm.
Interfering with the mental stops the flow.
Mhm.
The the ego, which everybody has. You wouldn't be alive if you didn't have an ego. If used the wrong way, it interferes with the natural flow of the three principles. Or as what Marx often loves to talk about, the right use of thought or the wrong use of thought, type of thing. It's just another way of saying that simple sentence. So we are the reason it's important, Jim, is we're not here to solve problems. We're here to connect to God, to connect to the oneness. It's not the world is obsessed because it has fear. It's a fear-based reality. But the reality is the truth is it's a love-based reality. And the closer we go to the love, the freer we feel and tap into our unlimited potential. Right now, I am with my daughter. She has everything she can want. She is totally successful. And I say to her, but there's more. You have unlimited potential. And she says, yeah, I know. I want to taste that too. I don't just want to have everything perfect. I want to taste this unlimited potential. And for Sherwin, for Emmanuel and Patty, that's what you're experiencing. You're experiencing the release of the confines of our beliefs, human beliefs, to the universal understanding that anything is possible if God allows it to happen. And that is what I have found in my life, a freedom not to complain. Yeah. Yeah. Is that funny? That's the freedom, not to complain. And when I'm not complaining, I feel like you see the beauty. In the first chapter of Zahara book, Jim, the Zahara and the Tale of Two Worlds, Sid says, what you're looking for is perfection. I have never heard anyone else say that. That's exactly correct. When you see imperfection, he says, you'll have the healing. Hollow bones. Yeah. So, Patty or Emmanuel or Jervin? Or not? Yeah.
Yeah. Hello,
Oh, great.
everyone.
Great to hear from you, Patty. Honest. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Go ahead.
I think I'm hard. And I'm very happy to join today's session. And I'm very, very filled with the sharing from everyone who has spoken. This is an amazing moment for me to hear again from our powerful teachings about three principles. This has been a change into my life. Sometimes when we are asked to give the reports about how the three principles is being spread among children at school, I sometimes feel like I can express how the three principles is being spread and changing myself before I try to transform others. The three principles has really, really changed a lot of things into my life, especially when reading these books that we got in the library, because we are accessing free books in our library. And it's with a great thanks for me to access those books, because they have a lot of good teachings, that when I read them, I feel like I'm being renewed every time when I read them. I feel I add more and more experience in my life. And that pushes me to stand and teach these young children for them to know themselves and become good people in future. You know, I remember when I was a young child learning, I was just going to school because parents wanted me to go to school. But with an early age, as I was young, I couldn't discover what am I going to do to school. I just knew my parents want me to go to school, let me go to school. But I couldn't discover why was I going to school, what do I want to become in future, and who am I exactly. But through these teachings of three principles, we have reached the step where we are teaching learners to have self-awareness, and where children in an early age can understand themselves, who they are, and what are they going to be in future. And today, learners can now express. I'm able to stand in a class and ask a learner, who can tell me about himself, about herself. And through the teachings of three principles, learners are able to express themselves and take what is in them out, so that a person may understand exactly what they are. It's really, 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 really amazing with these teachings. This has made a big change in children, and especially in myself, as other teachers are testifying that this has made a very big change in their lives. I may say we are lucky to have this program in Africa. Sometimes there are a lot of philosophy that are trying to be pressed in people's mind in different ways. And we have tried to underwent some, I've tried to underwent some trainings of different people's philosophy. But this philosophy of three principles is closely to even the religious teachings, mostly when you come to love. When you come to the point of
that's the beauty of it. It's exactly the same as what Jesus is teaching. It's a different metaphor, a different story, but it's so everything that Jesus is teaching is about love. Everything. And
exactly.
yeah. And so love equals love. That's
Exactly.
yeah. And when we feel it, we are part of love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, in Africa, we have some kind of life of fear. I'm sorry, something wrong with my throat. I'm sorry. When you try to join some kind of meetings like this, people's mind always go wrong, thinking that you are joining something wrong or you're following something wrong. Then I've judged better to, before you judge something or before you reject something, first try to deep in it and try to understand what's inside. Most of the time, people do not want teachings, do not want trainings, do not want to hear from different trainings because they fear maybe what you call bad sects. People are joining bad movement that can lead them to maybe a satanic life and so on. Let me mean it. Then but what I've found in three principles about love, I try to examine it for so long. When I read these Zahara books, how they arrange and make a learner or a person reading the books to understand love in him, where a person comes to love himself before he gives love. First himself, then he gives love. And once you give love, you receive love. So when you go to the teachings of the Bible, it's completely the same. That you cannot receive love when you don't give love, because love is almost the most powerful power that controls everything. I used to read an American preacher's book, brochures, called William Branham. I read one of the books. He said that if I perform healings, if I pray to people and they get healed, it's because I love them. If I don't love a person, it's impossible for me to pray for that person and get healing. Then he concluded saying that the healing comes from love. And then when I come to the teachings here, it's really inspires me a lot to spread about love everywhere I am. So it's like a song to me to talk about love, because I've got to know a lot about love. And since I started reading and learning about three principles, I'm seeing myself as love because I want to be called love. Yeah, so that is. And we really think about this program at our school and everywhere where these teachings are reaching. As Javin said, it's really amazing people. It's amazing people. Everyone want to follow. Everyone want to hear. Everyone want to be transformed.
Go ahead, Gervin. Gervin, yeah. Thank you, by the way, Patty. Beautiful. Very, really touching, wonderful testimony of truth. And I love that you bring in another writer at the thought about love. If he can't love another person, if he can't love the person, there's no healing. I love that. That's a great teaching. Go ahead,
Jervin.
Jervin. Yeah, I can't remember right now. My mind's a little, yeah.
Yeah, hello once again. I would just like to share a little bit about the story of dear Liza. Actually, this story is really amazing, and one thing that I've really learned from this story is that we learn about compassion. Compassion is really something lacking today in many people's hearts. Even here where we are living, to find people having compassion for others is really hard. So the more that we learn about the three principles when we are talking about sharing love, that is compassion. We can't share love when we are not compassionate. So when we keep sharing these teachings with others in the community, it's because, first of all, we have love in us and we want to share that love with others so that others can also receive it and share again with others. So we keep spreading the love everywhere so that everyone can see that one of the most amazing things in life is to share love, to love other people. What is really not happening a lot today. That's why we see that there is a lot of division in the world where we are living today. That's why we are having a lot of wars everywhere, like in the Congo, because you find people don't have compassion for others. There is too much division because people don't understand the power of love. So with these teachings, I think they can really bring the words together when many people receive such teachings and understand that I have to share love with my neighbor. I have to share love with other people. So when we find that I love you, you love me, so you find that I'm compassionate with someone and the other person does the same to me, we are helping one another, we are caring for one another. So you will find that we will not have all this hatred going around and people will be united. So that is one thing that I've really appreciated from this story. And the second thing is when Zahara talked about God being one. Actually, today we find even in our communities different religions. We all pray the same God, but because we use different names, but the people that are leading others try to kind of, I can say, to lead them astray. So instead of preaching love for other people, they are trying to show that our God that we pray is the best. The other God that the other people pray is not a real God. So when you are really preaching about God and you are trying to show other people that the God that they pray is not a real God, is a fake one. Yours is the best God. So you are pushing hatred for these others. So you find we have even division in religions. People don't understand one another. And this is what keeps bringing conflict. But when people really do understand that we have only one God, but with different names, we are all praying the same God. I think this can really be amazing once people understand this from different religions like Catholics, Protestants, Muslims. We all pray the same God. But then the challenge is when people try to show that theirs is the best, the other one for the others is a fake one. So you find we have division, we don't love one another, we don't share. Actually, we even have some people that don't allow their members to participate, to be together with other people from other religions. Yet we all pray the same God. Like, for example, for me, I have friends from many different religions. I have friends who are Muslims, and we go, we share, we like have fun together. But then you find for other people, they're like, for you, you are Christians, but how do you spend the time with Muslims? Like when it is time for Eid, how do you go, you celebrate together with Muslims, yet you are Christians? They tell you that is a sin. You don't have to be with these people. So when you hear such things, you really understand that these people don't have love for others. They just want to promote division. So with these stories, I came to understand more and to learn more that we all pray the same God, and there is nothing that differentiates us, as we are all human beings created by one divine force, which we believe is God and is the creator of everything and who controls everything. So long as we are living here on earth, we just have to keep preaching more love, and more love to each and everyone. And that is the only way that we can make this world a better place. So thank you so much for these teachings. And this is what we'll keep preaching it to other people in the community, especially to the young people, to start changing their minds when they are still young, to grow knowing about the power of love, because we know many people get brainwashed when they are still young. So when they grow up, it becomes such a challenge to try to change what they have been taught since they were young. They have grown with those teachings of divisions, and that's why we said it is really amazing to focus our attention on the children and the youth, because we believe that these are the leaders of tomorrow and it is the next generation. So when we really transform these people's lives, we will have a better world tomorrow. So thank you so much for these teachings and everything that the whole team and the 3P principals are doing. We really appreciate everything. So thank you so much.
Beautiful, of course, very beautiful. And now we have Emmanuel. He'd also like to say a few words. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Uh, Thank you so much for the flow. Additionally, as my friend Paddy and my friend Javid Baila said, they are really, and they are right for everything they have said. But also, I would like to add something about something which I'm going through here in Naki Valley. Naki Valley is a field whereby, apart from lacking love, we also need such teaching to transform not only the mindset of young children, as my friend Javin said, but also old people, mature people. They also need such teaching. Why? Because, some people, we have been attacked. We have been, I can say we have been attacked by the war, and we left everything from our home countries and came here in Uganda. So reaching in here in Uganda, our parents and some of our friends who had a good life in Congo or in other country where they come from, so reaching here in this condition of refugee life, they believe that they will no longer live such life which they lived before. Because some of our parents have been living in a very good conditions. Some of them owned cars, good houses, they owned good jobs, but reaching here in a refugee camp, no job, no car, no good house, no water, no food, no school fees even to pay for children. So you see, all of these things, they are attacking their mindset and promote negative thoughts immediately. But also, what I'd like to say, I was having one question. After that question, I also had a short story to share. My question was all about how does a positive feeling relate to positive thoughts?
The positive
The
feeling
positive feeling
raises the level of
raises the level of consciousness.
consciousness. And as the level
And
of
as
consciousness
consciousness
raises,
raises,
you get closer to
you get
God.
closer to God.
The closer you
Alright.
go to God, the easier it is to
The
see the
easier it is to
answer.
see the answer.
And the answer comes
And the
from
answer
within.
comes from within.
So you
So
connect
you connect
to God.
to God.
Automatically, your
Automatically,
personal
your
personal mind
mind
ascends
ascends
and joins
and joins
the one mind,
the one mind,
because it's always
because
been
it's
one mind.
always been one mind.
But we feel separate. And when we feel separate, we create a gap between God and ourselves. And so it is actually what we are looking for, Emmanuel, is an understanding. And the understanding can only be grasped through a personal experience, which releases positive feelings. Anyone else is free to contribute to that very interesting question, by the way.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As I said before, Nakival is an area whereby this teaching, this powerful teaching is needed. My short story, which I was having to share before I end up. Last Sunday, not this one of Easter, the other one before Easter Sunday, I invited one of my friends who is really suffering from negative thoughts. He's a boy of 24 years old. So he's my friend. Now, when we had the last meeting, I invited him to come and participate in such teaching. So we are sharing my phone because he does not own a phone, a smartphone. So when the boy came, we started the meeting. Now, I was not able to show him or to present him in the meeting because I was in darkness. The power was not around. So when we finished the training or the meeting, the man went. Now he went, he has a big family. Father, mother, sisters, brothers, they are all at the same house. Now he went to share the story which he learned from that meeting. Unfortunately, the mother was not supportive to the boy's thoughts or to the boy's decision. Mother said, I don't want to see you anymore in such meeting because we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what it's all about. Now, next day, you come and call that friend of yours who introduced you in such meeting. What is all about? What are they teaching? Those white people, they can take you in satanic things. We don't want such a meeting. Now, the following day, the boy came and narrated me the story that my friend, my sisters, they all say that white people from those countries, they are not saved. They are used to satanic things, used to satanic stories, used to satanic issues. So they have refused totally for me to participate in the other meeting. So for me, as a learner, as a participant in this training, I have taken it as an opportunity to go and transform the mindset of those people. So the boy gave me the appointment to go and meet his family to tell them a little bit about what we are learning or what I'm trying to introduce their child in. Last Thursday, I went, I met the family, I seated with them, and I told them the reality of what we are learning. My friend Paddy said very well. He spoke that before you transform others, try to be transformed first. You cannot help someone when you are not helped. You cannot transform someone's life, someone's decision when you are not transformed yourself first. This teaching has transformed my mindset. It has transformed my way of thinking, my way of reasoning. So I'm able to transform someone else near me. So that family gave me the appointment that tomorrow, Monday, I will take the step of teaching them at home, at their house. So they gave me the good time that all of them will be ready to listen to me, the whole family. Father, mother, and they are including their children. They are ready to listen to me. What is three principles all about? Then after, they will allow the boy to come and keep on continue learning three principles from where we are learning. Unfortunately, we are almost at the end of our trainings, but I will keep on teaching those people until I convince them in order to change their mindset. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Harry,
Harry,
Harry, I'd like to say one thing.
Oh, please, please.
Anybody who gets to watch this webinar is in for some learning. This is a beautiful webinar. What's making it a beautiful webinar is that the people from Naka Valley Refugee Camp, I'm not sure if that's where Emmanuel is.
Yeah, he is. They're all success roots.
You know, you can understand their suspicion about learning this and the source, etc. But in fact, if we zoom our camera out wider and look at the whole world, we're going to see that Naga Valley Refugee Camp is a model for the world, no matter how rich your country is, no matter how powerful your armies are. The answer that we're all looking for is appearing and demonstrating and manifesting in the Naka Valley Refugee Camp, among other areas around the world. Not only, but it is so outstanding that this is a place where it is being welcomed, changing lives, growing immensely. And in the overall picture of what we know and what we learned beginning 50 years ago and watching the progress of it now, this is the leader of the world, learning about and sharing why we're here, our purpose in life, and what happens when we return to the formless and then return to the form and then return to the formless, etc. The circle of life that goes on. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with feelings. And there are tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of 3P practitioners. And they can all be learning right now from watching this webinar.
That's the message. We're glad to take out the 3P, but we're gladder when you take out the 3P because you're the fruit, the demonstration, the proof.
Yeah. The
that
three
you can-
Africans, the three Africans that have been sharing here, and the other Africans that we've been working with. There's another school, the Adedi School. There's another school, the Christian Heritage School. These schools are learning from what's been going on in Naka Valley and from our other teachings, and now they are changing. These schools are totally changing. These are happy schools. And the happy children are going home and helping their unhappy parents find happiness.
And it's contagious. And what the privilege is that there'll be more and more opportunities for you to share your simple understanding about love. And it's going to change so many people. It's just beginning, guys. The school is just the beginning. You have no idea what God has planned for us. But I'm starting to get a sense that the concentration of wisdom is expanding at such a rapid pace because of the spirit of the people we're being able to touch. The African spirit is a strange animal. Lots of complaints, lots of problems, but wow, lots of love. Right in the middle of all those problems, lots of love. And it's the answer. And you are not only saying it's the answer, you're demonstrating it, which is very powerful.
You're finding out what everybody in the world wants to know.
That is a correct
buy it.
statement.
Yeah, they can't buy it. Only
Yeah.
experience it. They can only flow with it. They can only learn from it. And it's the simplest thing I can conceive of, really. It's part of us. It is our soul.
Yeah. It expands. So maybe with that, we'll go to the conclusion, unless anyone wants to add anything, of which is the chapter 1 of Zahara and a Tale of the Two Worlds. When I started this book, because the first 2 books of Zahara series is a book about teaching in schools and a curriculum, I questioned why God was asking me to write this book, because it didn't have any of the form or any of the feeling of the other 2 books. And yet I knew it was an expression, a further expression. And then I suddenly realized it's for the individual students, for the advanced students, to learn more and more about the connection of their soul and God's soul together as one. The understanding of the connection of God and the human being. And it was told in a very mystical way, more like a Native American Indian way, or an old traditional African way. And the book just appeared. I'm very, very proud of this book, because in some ways I feel this book will touch the world the most. I hope they have the courage to read it, to hear it, to listen to it. So I'm going to play that as a finale, with artificial intelligence doing the reading of the book. And also within this book, because Jim, Mark, and Harry could not leave out Sydney Banks. We just can't do it, because we know the fact was, without his experience, his teachings, our friendship with him, we wouldn't be here. Just that simple. We would not be here. And yet I'm not saying I worship him. I say he pointed me in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all the world around us.
Chapter 1, Zahara's Dilemma. Zahara has been a teacher for several years at Success Root School in the Nakivale refugee camp in Uganda. Now, at 30, her professional career is blossoming. She is frequently invited to give talks across Africa at conferences, in disadvantaged communities, and within school programs. Her focus is often on training other teachers to help them gain a broader perspective in the three principles. Recently, she had an insight about the perception of the two worlds we live in. While she was amazed by the power and understanding she gained from this realization, she has found it challenging to articulate this to others. To deepen her understanding of this topic, Zahara listened to an audio talk by Sydney Banks titled Salt Spring Long Weekend, which was recorded in the late 1970s and is available on YouTube. The following is a paraphrase of what he said about the two worlds we live in. No matter how bad things seem, you must see imperfection to find the answer to what you are looking for. Once you start to find the answer, you step inside. And when you step inside, you start to realize the true meaning of a spiritual reality. At this second, you realize the inside is the creator of the illusion of the outside. And you are the inside. The body and your mind is the illusion. There is no such thing as a mind. That too is the illusion. The personal mind is there to play the game of life. And when you start to see the perfection of all things from inside, you find the answer, and when you find the answer, you find the secret to separate realities. You can step in and out of separate realities at will. All separate realities are simply separate levels of conscious state. So whoever you talk to, you step into their reality. Then, Zahara would tell her clients, "Look, I understand that we all have our own feelings, but that doesn't mean we have to carry a heavy, serious mindset into every situation. Doing so only makes things harder for ourselves. Each of us is living in our own separate reality, and we have the power to choose how we respond to it. We can navigate life with wisdom and positivity, or we can take the path of stress, sadness, or frustration. That's the beauty of free will, the ability to think and create our experience, whether we realize it or not. When we start to see this choice, we step into situations with a clear mind and actually enjoy being present. And then, the magic of life unfolds before you."
Anyway, that's an introduction to the first chapter. And then the rest goes into Zahara's experiences with different religions, her experiences with different situations, and her own exploration into how these two worlds become one. I promise you, as you see the spiritual and the psychological, the spiritual and the physical worlds, the formless and the form becoming one. That is what Sydney Banks is pointing to. I have experienced that at a level. The beauty is Sydney Banks has experienced it at a deeper level. I am so thankful there are deeper levels than what I understand. I'm so thankful that as we start to see the oneness of life, we answer our own problems, our own questions. And we find that we can share love with other people easier. It's amazing. In the end, it all comes down to one simple truth. You just have to be yourself. You can't be anybody else, so you might as well be Phillips, Emmanuel, Shervin, Patty, Jim, Mark, or Harry. Be yourself, and you'll find freedom beyond comparison. And dreams that come true because of the power of hollow bolts. And that's what we're teaching you to do, to dream. beyond what the world appears to be. We are, as you know, in June, 3P in Africa is going to be talking in front of maybe 1,000 people in total, perhaps 1,000, maybe more, maybe less, I'm not sure, but in that range. And we're going to share a spiritual message. It's our dream. But the beauty of the dream is it's not just going to be Jim, Mark, and Harry. It's going to be Sherwin and Phillips as well. And we're going to have Mirinda, a video of him and different things. So we're going to share, there'll be video along with what we're sharing. It's a dream. Because every time Phillips or Jerwin or Patty or Emmanuel share, they grow. And every time they grow, you don't know where that will go because that's in God's domain. And that's what we've experienced. The expansion of the impossible. And Jim and I often talk about we're not even doing it, but it just seems to have wheels or energy of its own. And it gets easier, not harder. Easier and easier to share about love. Man is confused. Emmanuel, when you talk to the family, they'll be confused. But we know if you have a feeling of love, you're going to do your best. And then the chips fall where they fall. So we have been honored to share this series. But one of the greatest honors is that we have it recorded on YouTube. Jim will be dead one day. Harry will be dead one day. Mark will be dead one day. Jervin will be dead one day. A little bit longer probably, but but they'll have the series to study, to see the feeling that we're looking for. And every time you share, another African will say, that can be me. I can do what Jervin is sharing. I can have that. I am that. We're all one family. To me, that is love. So with that, I'm going to let my two co-hosts say whatever they want to say, and then we'll wish you a beautiful rest of the day. And I have my grandkids that I have to play with, so I'm looking forward to that. Go ahead, Jim, and then Gerwin, and then we'll call it a day.
Okay, I'm going to try to be really fast.
Well, that'll be a change. Well, that'll be interesting. Good. I'm timing you right here. Just a second.
Yeah,
gratitude.
Okay. Gratitude for this show, Harry. I've really enjoyed it. It's been wonderful working with Jervin, Patty, Phillips, and Emmanuel. It's a great experience. It's a privilege. What's going on? I often return to. Let's take a look at what's really going on, and it is the most wonderful story you can imagine. This is the earth healing. So it's a privilege. I want to thank everybody in the room, and I want to thank everybody that's working in 3P in Africa. And really, it all boils down to everybody in 3P, everybody that's been around in the last 50 years, everybody that's changed their lives by being exposed to the truth as revealed by Sydney Banks.
And Sherwood, can you be the final comment, and then we'll say good night, everybody, or as Jim would like to say, hello. What's that last word? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the floor once more. Actually, I'm just going to be brief. I would like just to express my gratitude for the opportunity that was given to us to be part of this series, these webinars, to share, to learn from one another. It's really amazing because we all know the more that we share, the more that we grow, and the more that we grow, the more we have the courage to keep sharing again. So learning never ends, it never stops. We learn every day as we live. So I'm so thankful for this. Actually, it has brought a lot of experience to me in the domain where I work from, especially when it comes to sharing in such webinars. It has really impacted me so much. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to having more series like these ones so that we can keep learning more and more from one another, and also to keep sharing these teachings with other people in the broader community, to those who are not really fortunate to have the connectivity that we can have to join such sessions online, because you know, I have some people that really like to join, but they have these kinds of problems with connectivity. So we are really so thankful, because whatever that we share from here, whatever that we learn, we also take it back to the community and share with other people, and they also learn the way that we are also learning. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And great working with you. It started as Harry and Jim's book club, but Sherwin came in, and it was obvious that it was the three of us book club. And thank you for all your sharing. Together we can. Goodbye, everybody. And
Asante san.
Asante sana, aloha, and stop. Yeah, let's see. Stop the recording.